Alrighty, ladies and gents, welcome back. Johnny B here with devslopes.com, and in this lesson we are going to do some really cool stuff. We're going to get the API that is going to power our chat app up and running, alright? So you may have been wondering how we are going to actually send and receive messages and stuff, and that is through the awesome API that we are providing for you. We put a lot of work into it, making it, and so we're really excited for you guys to use it. It's an awesome API. It's built on Node, Express, and the Mongo database. It lets you send and receive messages, create and log in with authenticated users, create channels. It utilizes socket technology, so our messaging will be instantaneous. So like this is a legit API that you guys are getting access to. But now this isn't a course about how to build an API, so I'm not going to go into too much depth on how the actual API code works. We might take a quick tour, but just about everything that the API does and contains, you can learn in Jack's awesome API courses available on our DevSlopes platform and Udemy. So we are using our own API code, but for this to be a real chat app, you want to be able to have your app hosted and be able to chat with other people on other computers, right? Otherwise, you just be sitting there talking to yourself. So we are going to host the code on an awesome service called Heroku. Hosting just means that our code has a home somewhere on the internet so we can use it from anywhere. We are also going to use a Mongo database service called MLabs. And everything we are using you can use for free to get started. And there are 3 ways that we can set up the API, and we're going to go over all 3. The first is using Heroku's really cool one-button deploy feature, meaning you just click one button, and if you already have a verified account set up, it just automatically sets everything up for you. But like I said, for that to work, you need to have a verified account, which means you have to have a credit card on file. It's still free. You won't get billed for anything, but for whatever reason, Heroku requires that you be a verified account with a credit card on file to use that feature. So if you're not comfortable giving them your credit card info, or you just don't have one, or you're somewhere where you can't get one, we're also going to cover another way to do the exact same thing. It'll just take a little bit more work and setup. All right, so got you covered there too. And lastly, we'll go over hosting it locally, though like I mentioned, you'll only be talking to yourself. However, this can be super useful if you are, you're feeling brave and you want to modify or expand on the API code. You can do all that locally, test it out, and then push it to live when it looks good. All right, so let's get started, and we're going to start out with the easiest one, which is the one-button deploy. So I'm just going to open up a browser window here. And we are going to go to Heroku.com and take a look around their site. They got some really cool stuff. Basically, it just makes getting your hosted app up and running a lot quicker. All right, and so you can sign up here. So the sign up process is really straightforward. Just your information. The primary development language, go ahead and select node.js, since that's what our API is written in. And then once you're all signed up, I'll see you inside. All right, so once you're signed up and you're in, we're going to go ahead and open up a new tab, and we're going to go to github.com/devslopes and look for the Mac Chat API. Click on that. And then just come down here, and so here's the README for it. Go ahead and you can read through that, learn a little bit about how it works. But what you need to do is come down here and click on Deploy to Heroku. So this is that one button deploy that I was talking about. So just click on it, and that'll jump us over to Heroku. And you can put in an app name, optional. If you leave it blank, then they'll kind of just make up one for you. But we're gonna say chatty chat. Oh, can't have it's got to be all lowercase, no spaces, just letters. So I'm gonna say chatty chat chat. All right, chatty chat chat. It doesn't really matter, and this isn't going to be the This probably isn't going to be the one that we really use. I'm just showing you this for the one button deploy. So I'm going to say chatty chat chat, and it shows the add-on that we're going to be using, and just say deploy. And so, right, so here's where it pops up. To do the one button deploy, gotta be a verified account. I'm gonna go ahead and put in my credit card info, and I'll see you guys in a second after that's done. All right, so once you put in your account, your credit card information, you may need to press deploy again. But once you do that, then it's gonna start building out your app and getting it ready to deploy on Heroku. All right, once it's all done, you'll see here it says your app was successfully deployed. So go ahead and click on view, and that'll open us up in a new window. And it says message chat API is alive. So we now have our app actually hosted, our API code at least, and it's already hooked up. So if we click on manage app, it'll take us to the app. And you have some information here, overview. So the resources we have here, an MLab MongoDB. And so this is where all of the data is actually stored. So Heroku hosts the API code itself, but we also need a place for all of the data to be held. The messages, the users, the chat channels, all of that information is going to be stored in this Mongo database right here. And if we click on it, it'll actually take you to that account. And you can see here collections. This collections is another name for the different types of data that will be used. For instance, once we have users, there will be a collection for users. Once you start sending messages, there will be a collection for messages, and so forth. Don't need to mess with too much in here yet. That'll be for a little bit later on. But basically, that's all you need to do to get your API code hosted with a Mongo database attached to it. All right, so that's it. We are pretty much ready to use this API as is. All right, and then so how you would do that is once we get in Xcode, once we get the code up to login and all that kind of stuff, we will use, let's see here, we will use this URL for all of our API web requests. All right, so that's it. Super simple with the one button deploy. And so if you can use the credit card, highly recommend doing it this way. Super simple. But like I said, if you can't or don't want to, don't fear. We are going to show you how to do it the other way right now. Okay, so if you don't want to use your credit card information, then there's a few more steps involved, but it's not too bad. So let's go ahead and get started with that. First thing we're gonna do, this is just my other Heroku account. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go get the API code. So we're gonna head back over to github.com /devslopes MacChat API. And what we're gonna do is we're going to clone the repo. So here I'm gonna copy the URL. Then I'm going to open up terminal and going to bump up the size here. So I'm going to CD and CD to the desktop, and I'm just going to clone it to the desktop. So I'm going to say git clone, and then I'm going to paste that URL. There we go. And then I am going to use Atom as my text editor. And so if you just say Atom space period, if you have it installed, then it'll open it right up inside of Atom. Okay, so here we are open in Atom, and here is our API code, MacChat API. And if you want, you can browse around, check things out. What we're going to be working on is right here in source, config, and then index.js. So this is where we're going to be making some changes right here in this Mongo URL. But we're not quite ready to do that. So we're going to jump back into Safari. And now we need to sign up for MLabs. So just Google MLabs, and right here, MongoDB hosting is what we want. And you can sign up for free. So just go ahead and put in an account name, username, email, passwords, accept. All right. So go ahead and do that, and I will see you inside. Okay, so once you're in here, if you're a first-time user, you're going to have to verify your email. So go ahead and just click that link to send the email. For me, for some reason, it took like half an hour for the verification email to arrive. Hopefully that doesn't happen to you, but if so, hang tight, it's on its way, and just come on back whenever you're able to verify your account. But once you do, so here we're going to create a new MongoDB deployment. So we're going to say create new, and we're going to use a single node sandbox setup, and that's their free version. Okay, you get up to a half gig. Okay, so choosing sandbox, you can come down here and you can set a database name. So we can just say chatty chat, and I'm going to create the new MongoDB deployment by clicking here. And we have our Mongo database deployment set up, so we can click here. And so it says here, to connect using a driver via the standard MongoDB URL, we're going to use this guy right here. So this right here is what is going to go inside of our API code right here for the Mongo URL. But first we have to create a user. So you see here in the URL, it's asking for a database user and a database password. That's not your account, email, and password. You have to come here to where it says users, and then add database user. And the database user name, you can name whatever you want. I'm going to say Johnny B. Database password, I'm just going to say 123456, 123456, and don't click make read only. This would be if you had a database where you only wanted people to read poll data, you didn't want them adding anything to your database at all. But we obviously want to write to it because we're going to be sending chat messages and all that kind of stuff. So make sure that's unchecked and then say create. Not now. Okay, so now we have a user here. And so then we can go ahead and copy this URL here, head back over to our Atom or whatever text editor you're using to edit the API code. And again, it's in the MacChat API folder under source, config, index.js, and we are editing the Mongo URL. Okay, so I'm gonna just replace quotation marks and that. Oh, I guess I didn't copy it. Okay, so select this, copy it, and paste, and then replace the DB user with the user that you just created, and right here replace it with the password 123456. You should probably choose a more secure password. All right, then I'm going to save that. So now our API code will be linked up with the Mongo database because of what this work that we just did. But now we need to get our local modified version of our API code onto our Heroku account. Okay, so I'm going to come back to Safari, head over to our apps, and I'm going to say create new app. I'm going to name it. I'm going to say Chatty Chat JB. Oh, it looks, oh, okay. Chatty Chat JB is available, so I'm going to say create app. And then it gives us some options for how to get our code up there. We are going to use the Heroku CLI. All right, so if you haven't ever done this, we're going to just go ahead and follow the instructions here. So we're going to download and install the Heroku CLI. So I'm going to click there. And you can either do it with Homebrew, or you can click on the macOS installer. So with Homebrew, if you don't already have Homebrew installed, and then you're going to need to click this link and install Homebrew, and they have instructions on how to do that right here in this link, okay? So all you got to do is paste that in a terminal command. So once you have Homebrew installed, if you don't have it already, then you can do brew install Heroku. I already have it installed, but I'll do it again anyways, just because it'll probably just reinstall it. So I'm going to say brew install Heroku. So if it needs to, it'll update Homebrew. All right, so that's done. So now we have the Heroku CLI installed on our computer. The other way to do it is just download and run the macOS installer. Pretty simple. It downloads. You open up download folder, open up the installer, and just follow the instructions. Okay, I'm not going to do that since I just did it with Brew. Okay, so once we have the CLI installed, let's see here, come back to our instructions here. We are going to log in to Heroku. So we're going to come back to terminal. I'm going to clean my terminal with Command K, and I'm going to say Heroku login, and it's going to prompt for your Heroku credentials. So I'm going to say johnny@devslopes.com, press return, and it'll ask you for your password. I'm just going to grab my password here and paste it, and then press return. All right, so now I'm logged in. And then what we're going to do is just following these instructions, we're going to create a new Git repository. We're going to add the remote to Heroku. So I'm going to just copy this. They have it pre-populated with our app name. So copy that and come back to terminal and say paste. And we failed for some reason. Oh, I know why. Because where are we right now? pwd. Because we are not in the project. So I need to cd to our project. So I'm going to say cd mac chat API. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to copy that command, go back into terminal and paste it. All right, there we go. And so then the next step is just to add and commit our changes, which was to change the MongoDB URL and then to push. So we're just going to say, let's change this up a little bit. It's going to say git add dot git commit dash am added MongoDB URL and git push Heroku master. Okay. So now it's going to do the same thing, more or less, that the one button deploy did. You'll be able to see the same output right here. Okay, so it says deployed to Heroku. So we're all done. So let's go ahead and click back on here, and you can just click on personal apps. And there we have our Heroku app. We can click on it. Let's head over to right here. You can click on Open App, and if it worked, yep, there we go. Message: Chat API is alive. All right, so that is pretty cool. All right, guys. So in this video, we got our API up and running with 2 of the 3 ways that you can do it, with the one button click deploy, and then also with the other slightly more involved way, but without having to use a credit card, and learning a little bit about the Heroku CLI and pushing projects to Heroku. All right, so our API code is now live on the internet, hosted. And so once we're ready and back into Xcode, we'll be able to actually start interacting with the API, registering and creating users, logging in, sending messages, and all that awesome stuff. But first up in the next video, we're going to cover the third option, which is to host it locally. And we're going to talk about some of the different tools that you can use to make local development easier, using tools like Postman, RoboMongoDB, and some other things. All right. So hope you guys are excited for that, and I will see you in the next one.